Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday yet again. Welcome back to a new Writer Wednesday with Author Revolution, aka me, this crazy person, Carissa. So today I have an interesting thing to be thinking about, and it's one that I kind of stumbled on a couple of times in other groups that I am a part of and following, and also, I guess, just in my own thought process of different things. Like when you're in the middle of writing a series, is there ever a time when you really just want to let it go? Like, is there a time when you would stop and say, okay, this series just really isn't working for me for whatever reason, and just move on and do something else? Have you ever come up to something like this? So, I kind of got thinking, and I was like, yeah, there are actually instances where I think that the best course of action is actually to abandon ship and do something else. So, I want to talk really briefly, I guess, about some of the major ones that I believe is your driving force for leaving a series. There's actually 7 that I talk about in the podcast this week, but I'm going to talk about, I think, maybe 3, because 3 of them are really important. And I'm going to go over those ones because I think those are the ones that make the most sense and are really potent and powerful. So the first one, at least the first one that comes to me, especially when you're in a rapid release scenario, right? We're kind of in this process as we're, whether you're here because you're a rapid release author already or because you are trying to aspire to be one later on down the road. The goal for rapid releasing is to write and publish books quickly so that you can see what sticks. Honestly, it takes a little bit of that experimentation to be able to find the stories that are resonating with your audience and to figure out when you have not really hit the tones that they're looking for, whether it be from character development, story arc, um, world building, any of those things. And so when it does stick, the idea behind rapid releasing in a lot of ways is really to either fail quickly or succeed quickly. Both of those things happening. So if a series is going to fail, you're going to know it pretty quickly. And the way that you usually would know that is through sales. So if we look at it from a sales perspective and you are spending more money on advertising than you're pulling in, or it feels like you're doing everything possible to get this series off the ground and it's just not going anywhere, you can do 2 things. One, you can try to figure out why it's not going anywhere. The first one being maybe your cover's not hitting its mark, or maybe the book blurb is not hitting its mark. You could do those tweaks. You can try to make that work. Unless, of course, the story itself is the problem. And if that's the case, you're going to know that pretty quickly in your reviews as well. The other thing that you can do is just let it go for a while. So even if you're working on this series and you're thinking this is going to be the one that I'm going to rapid release, let's say as a long tail series for a while, if there isn't enough interest or isn't enough sales happening with that series, it might be better off left alone for a bit. Maybe the world can stew a little bit more in your brain, or maybe market conditions can change so that it makes the series a little bit more viable. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so another reason that you would probably say, you know what, I'm calling it quits on this one, is going to be if you've run out of story ideas. So that happens sometimes. I think especially if you're writing a more serial, long tail series, if you just kind of have been doing it for a while, and let's face it, guys, rapid releasing, it requires you to be on the move all the time. You're thinking about your next story idea, you're thinking about your characters all the time. You are thinking about your marketing and how that's going, even if you're mid-series. Let's say you've got 12 books out, you're still going to be thinking about how you're going to market the next ones. Maybe it's not as big of a fanfare, but you're still going to be thinking about marketing and backlist and making sure that people are aware of it and coming into your series. It's kind of the author's job. So if you get to a point in a series and you run out of creative ideas for that series, don't start doing, like I talked about in the podcast, don't start doing a Final Destination kind of situation where it's like they're cookie cuttered, or like Wrong Turn. I think Wrong Turn was another one where it's like great first movie, but then every movie after that was just crap because it was almost the exact same thing over and over. Don't do that. You want to be able to have those stories come from you from a place of creativity and true spark. So when you run out of ideas, it's time to back away. It's time to either back away from the series in general and just take a break in general altogether, or you could take a break from that series and just play and dabble in something new, whether it be short story or whether it be a new novel or whether it be a completely different series. It's time to walk away for a little bit and let those creative juices come back together, and that's okay. It might mean a little bit of a loss of momentum if your audience is very excited about it. But the thing is, you'll let them down more later on if you're writing stories that you're just not into. So don't do that. Don't do that at all. And finally, I don't even know. It goes together. So for me, this is a little bit different. Creative ideas are different from burnout. So if you get completely burnt out from your writing or from whatever it is that you're trying to do, to me that says a couple of things. It tells me your why is a little bit off. So for instance, if money is your only driving factor for writing your series and trying to get your backlist up and trying to do everything, or trying to get, even if it's just like you're trying to get to that livable wage, I get it. But if that's the only why, then you're going to run into a problem, because rapid releasing and just writing books in general, it can get to a point where it feels more like a chore, and then everything gets to be a struggle, and then it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this. For me, I have, and it's not so much with the writing for my own stuff, it's for all the outside noise that's happening. And usually writing is my safe haven. It's the place that I go to when I want to calm the storm in my head. And so if writing becomes the storm, it's time to take a break from it. And it doesn't have to mean forever. It doesn't have to mean, long term, you suck at writing, any of those things. It just means taking that time to, I guess, recenter and focus on why you started. So if you find that the true reason you're writing your series is not so much about the writing gaining you long-term income, it's actually about that creative expression for yourself. Think about what aspects of the creative expression excite you. What things are you not doing right now that maybe you've let go because you've been focused so much on the motion of publication? All of those things kind of come into play, and you have to look at things in a way that is more holistic. We're still human beings, and so we're not just story pumping out machines, right? And so we have to make sure that we are well-rounded individuals ourselves. So sometimes that means that break, taking that break, whether it be for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of years, a couple of months, whatever. Just take a break from writing and just let yourself kind of explore the world a little bit, take on some new hobbies, do some new things, meet some new people, and then all of a sudden new ideas start popping into your head and new characters start popping into your head because you've met and experienced and done more. I really do believe that things happen for a reason. So when your mind in the background is telling you something, your subconscious is going, you know what, this thing needs to get worked on, or this thing needs to get left, or this just isn't right, or anything like that. When you have those repetitive thoughts that are kind of going in the background of your mind, sometimes, and not all the time, like sometimes we are trying to kid ourselves that, oh, I can't do this. No, yes, you can. But when it's something specific that maybe you weren't even thinking, it's not part of your record, let's say, the typical record that you would play in your head for your doubts, then it might be time to kind of take a little closer look and examine what that means. It means going, okay, where does my spark for this writing aspect come from? Because let's face it, you can earn way more money way quicker by being a banker. Go be a real estate agent if you want to earn money quickly, because this is part of, it's doing something that you love and earning money from it. And so if you're not doing it because you love it and because there's something that really draws you to it, then I think it's time to reassess whether or not you want to continue the series or whether you want to do something different. But it could be that you find out that, okay, the reason this isn't working is because I love ancient history and I haven't brought ancient history into my books for a while. Does it fit the current series that you're working on? And if not, does that mean making a new pen name? Maybe starting a new completely different platform? Yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a pain in the butt. But will you enjoy it more? And if you enjoy it more, though, that enjoyment floods into your whole writing process. And so readers connect to it, you connect to it, and you're able to enjoy that whole aspect so much more. And let's face it, guys, we only live once. So why would you want to spend so much time writing in a series that you just don't enjoy writing in? You get me? All right. So, like I said, there's a lot more tips in the podcast today. I would love for you to go check it out. It's over at authorrevolution.org/35. I can't believe there's already 35 episodes. I don't know what happened there. But hopefully, you get some information out of it. And if you've got any questions, let me know. I do want to know, though, have you ever let a series go? Have you ever thought about leaving a series in the dust and just kind of moving on? I'm curious. I have not myself, but I have put a book completely down in the past where I've started writing a book and I just walked away from it. You'll have to listen to the podcast to figure out which one that was. All right, guys, we will talk to you again next week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Get some writing done. And I know I will. I'm going to be working on a little bit more character development and, as I bump my mic, character development and working on chapter 13 of Haunted Legacy. So here we go. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy Writing Wednesday. And, thanks, David. We'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye, guys.